Welcome to My Style Live podcast, coming to you live. And here today, we're going to discuss the music industry, COVID-19 as a global tour manager. Thank you again. Thanks everyone for joining us today. This will be our episode number 4, and we look forward to having a great podcast today. My name is Shawn, and I'm your host for My Style Live. My Style Live is a fashion podcast for industry insiders and outsiders alike, covering style, business, healthcare, music, and culture. Tune in monthly for My Style Live podcast. To learn more, visit mystylelive.com. My Style Live is a fashion podcast for industry insiders and outsiders alike, covering style, business, healthcare, music, and culture. Tune in monthly for My Style Live podcast. To learn more, visit mystylelive.com. My Style Live podcast is extremely excited to partner with Anchor in offering our top podcast advertisers the first of their kind sponsorship via the Anchor platform. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Yes, I said it is free. Free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your own phone and computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and others. You make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in just one place. Sign up for a free social media webinar at My Style Live at 1kmeg.net. or visit 1kmeg.net/contact to use the offer My Style Live free webinar. Again, sign up for the free social media webinar at My Style Live at 1kmeg.net. Mr. Floyd is the head of global touring operations for Beyonce, Jay-Z On the Run 2 tour. Mr. Floyd has also been recognized for his work with the Beyonce Experience Live in 2007 and the Destiny's Child, A Family Affair in 2006. Get ready. It's time to hear some words of wisdom from today's featured guest. I'm excited to welcome our special guest for today's episode, COVID-19 and the music industry. It's time to get a little deeper insight from our expert guest, Mr. Alan Floyd. Mr. Alan Floyd's job requires he spends countless hours organizing his schedule around Miss Beyonce Knowles Carter. Mr. Floyd is the global tour manager for Miss Beyonce Knowles Carter. Mr. Floyd is a Florida A&M University alumni who studied journalism. He began writing songs at the age of 6. Mr. Floyd is the son of Mr. Eddie Floyd, one of the original soul men, who also produced one of the number one hits in the 60s, Knock on Wood. Everyone in the industry knows Mr. Floyd. Anyone backstage at the time of some of the biggest shows, from Yolanda Adams, Frank Ocean, Destiny Child, TLC, and Keith Sweat, Mr. Floyd is well known. Today, My Style Live podcast welcomes Mr. Alan Floyd. Thank you, Mr. Floyd, for joining My Style Live podcast today as a featured guest. Hi, Mr. Floyd. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just excellent. Life is wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for being our special guest on My Style Live today. And today we will be discussing how COVID-19 is affecting the music industry. We will also have Dr. Dennis also coming in as a guest, as well as yourself. But Mr. Floyd, I'd like for you to tell us a little about what you do and who you are and how long you've been doing what you do.
Well, my name is Alan Floyd. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Graduated from Florida A&M University with a degree in journalism. Right. Currently, I'm sitting at home.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Well, okay. I'm glad that you're staying safe today and staying safe during this COVID-19 because this damn pandemic has definitely impacted everyone's life around us. You know, I don't know if sitting at home is good, but are you working out, doing anything fun?
Yeah,
reading?
I walk into the refrigerator and back, getting off this couch and back. Nah, I'm actually reading and a few lifestyle changes, as far as like getting into our ancestors' spirituality, different things we need to, get back to learning those things that I didn't have time to learn before the world stopped.
Okay. Well, yes, it did stop on March 13th. I think that was the exact date that everything just went to a standstill. I haven't been doing much myself. We have a slow process. I'm actually out of Nashville, Tennessee, and things have been going really slow here. The cases have taken a turn, and now we're on mandatory mask here in Tennessee. So things it was progressing. Now it's a little less progressing here, but I wanted to discuss some things, about the music industry and how hard the coronavirus has hit the live performances, the sponsorships, and, the type of crisis that this impact is having on the music industry.
Yeah, well, basically, it's like anything else. Everybody is shut down. Just if you even wanted to, I'm in the concert side of the I'm in the concert side of the industry, as you know. So,
okay,
nobody going to a concert no time soon. No big concert for sure. So that has shut all of that down. It's kind of like if you was gonna have like the NFL, or because we play stadiums, so
yes,
it's the same kind of thing as the NFL. Like, I know they think they're coming back, but we'll see. What does that what does that look like? And if they do come back, what does that look like? But at least with football, you can just it's pretty much set in stone and go. But there's a lot of preparation that go into doing concerts with venues and all the things you got to do to prepare to have a nice presentation and a show. So you can't even prepare because you don't know when you're going to be able to even give that show if you were able to prepare. But you can't even prepare because you have a group of over, let's just say, 200 people in one place trying to prepare. You can't do that.
That is true. I mean, that's true. I mean, now I guess it's it's 20 people per an event or a venue or the size that you can have that many people. Yeah. So it's kind of difficult to do that. Now, Dr. Dennis is right here, and he's a educator, and he's an MD and a PharmD, also a FAMU alumni. I'm going to let him address the component of the virus just a little bit.
Yeah, well, I guess I understand what Alan is saying. And first of all, just say, hey, Alan, how you doing?
What's up, my brother?
My brother, that's right. Yeah, we just happen to be FAMU alumni, but we happen to also have a fraternal connection as well. But from my perspective, I'm always looking at the health and safety of the community, and also patients and civilians that are out here on a day-to-day basis who are trying to make their lives as pleasant as possible with social distancing and having to, I guess, quarantine. And I can definitely see the impact from a concert standpoint, what Alan is saying, how do you socially distance in a concert venue? How do you get past the emergency status of most of the communities and cities and across the country? How do you prepare for something that's relatively impossible when mayors control the decision making about cities and whether things are open or closed? So I can definitely see where Alan is coming from, and there's got to be a lot of money being lost in the process. But I'm sure that we're all just doing what we must do at this particular time to kind of prepare ourselves for the future, but more importantly, keeps ourselves safe at this current time. So I just hate that it's happened this way, but the coronavirus is not going anywhere soon. That's one thing I can truly say. The coronavirus itself is here to stay because it's a constantly changing virus. It mutates, it changes based upon its formation and its intracellular connects. In other words, when it sees something that it adapts to and likes it changes to that what it is, and it moves forward. So therefore, we're trying to create a vaccine on something that may change inherently within the next 12 to 24 months. So that's my perspective on it. And I know that Alan, he's an expert about what he does, and I'm sure he's in contact. Alan, I'm sure you're in contact with the powers that be. But right now things just can't happen, and we just must do what we have to do. Just like you talked about sports and athletics, all the sports, the NBA, Major League Baseball, football, they're all trying to prepare and be safe. But inherently, players will become sick. There will be players that get the coronavirus, and they already know this. But really, it comes down to money. And just from my personal perspective, they're really the owners, the billionaires. They want their money. Alan, what do you think about that?
Exactly. However, in a concert space, it's different because you got to get the artist got to be in that. And what artists do you know? The billionaires can go in they bunker, so to speak, and cover up. The people that are singing and giving concerts and stuff, they got to be out there amongst the audience.
That's true.
They're not trying to be in the middle of 60,000 people coughing. That's not about
I have to agree.
I'm not trying to be with them. To tell you the truth, even if they were trying to go to Mars, they'd be going without me.
Well, I can understand that.
I love you. I work from home. I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? The bus will be there at so and so. So get on it. Let me know when you get there.
Okay, so do you see that this crisis is changing the trends of the music industry?
It's changing the trends of of everything, not just the music industry. So when we talk about the music industry, you got to include everything, because guess what? Like, okay, so all the vendors that make the stuff to put on the concerts, the screens, the stages, the lights, the sound, all of those contractors, the buses, the trucks, the everything, all of that has come to a halt. So imagine if you even a guy that puts out that owns a speaker company, right? So usually they double losing money, because usually you have a certain amount of speakers and stuff out on the concert, right? But there ain't nothing out. So everything has to come back to the warehouse. Guess what? The warehouse ain't big enough, because you used to having stuff out, right? On a consistent basis. Somebody's always on a tour and your stuff is always out. So guess what? Now they got to rent, on addition to losing money, they need more warehouse space.
Wow. So, I didn't think about that.
So they just for them to break even when we get back, they got a lot to do right there where you guys are in Nashville. One of the largest bus companies for touring is Hemphill out of Nashville. Well, guess what? Their main source of busing is people for tours, whether it's concert tours, NASCAR, whoever. Country music tours, nobody is moving. So guess where all their buses are? Sitting right there in Nashville.
Wow.
So they're not making no money. So guess what? But they still got to pay the leases on them buses.
Oh, okay.
And they just sitting there. So what do? Some of these people aren't going to make it through here. So some of these people are just not going to make it. Now, we both know that when people don't make it, it's going to be some enterprising millionaire, which is what I believe a lot of this is about, to come and snatch up everything everybody lose, and they happy.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because they can go buy it for $3 and bring it back. So
opportunity.
Yeah, it's opportunity for some, despair for others. So it's just like the housing crisis, anything else, a recession, anything else, But then you have to not only think about, even with the concerts and the games and everything, the venues. The venues got hundreds of people that work in the venue gonna lose their job. People that do stuff right outside the venue don't have any incomes. The restaurants and stuff that for the after show and whatever, the clubs, they don't have no revenue. So it doesn't just affect my industry, it affects everything that's connected to it.
Boy, it's almost like subsidiary things. I see that in the automotive industry as well. When Nissan North America moved to Nashville, they said they brought with them about 50 companies with them, because there's an impact of those around the major automotive companies. So I see that also what you're saying with the concerts and with artistry and with that kind of business. There's so much subsidiary stuff on the outside that people don't see. So, wow.
Yeah, well, you lucky, because the doctor business is not going out of business no time soon.
That's true. Neither are funeral homes.
Neither are funeral homes. Doctor business and funeral homes gonna be fine. Hospitals, fine. Drug companies, fine.
Okay. Yeah, that is so true.
There's insulation, but at the same time, it's not fun having to treat these folks and stay safe in this time. But we all have to pitch in together, and this is why it's so important in this time that we're in right now, where we're looking for love. We're looking for those who want to come together for the ultimate outcome of this world. People, so much bigotry, so many things that are out there, so much separatism that exists, and we need to come together as people, as human beings. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, okay. let me just take you on this first of all. First of all, it's all a trick. So by looking at TV, you would think that everybody's racist, everybody's this and that. By looking at TV, but what are you actually experiencing?
True.
Most people. Yeah, we see incidents on Facebook and social media that says, "Ooh, look at this! Ooh, look at this!" And the police shootings are horrible. But the average person, I mean, I lived in the South my whole life. Yeah, I had some ignorant people, do some ignorant things or say something. But for the most part, what has really changed? And I see what you don't see is a lot of people that are truly trying to find themselves and are sick of living in this way.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you would see a diverse group of people on the streets at this time all over the world. I had friends. The wonderful thing about touring, you meet people from all over the world and you get the real story, right?
Yes.
They tell. So I had just in Germany, think of what I'm talking about. Hitler's Germany, well, not Hitler's Germany anymore, but formerly Hitler's Germany. Just in Germany, protesting for George Floyd and black rights in America.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Cologne, I have friends in Cologne, 100 and some thousand more people. Dusseldorf, same thing. Berlin, huge marches. Those are just the ones that I know of, right?
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago, they had huge marches. Protesting against, against police brutality for blacks in America, right? These
Yes.
are people that don't really even know you, but guess what they know? They know your culture.
That's true.
They have a better appreciation for your culture than people over here.
That is true.
And you've gotten this from touring and going to all these other countries, I guess.
I can see it. Yeah, so even my friends are diverse because they're from all over the world, right? So I get to see their social media. They send me different things that show me when they were there, not what the news say. And sometimes they're not the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
News, they show you 4 people, then they gonna show you here. We was here with 10,000 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Media has a way of turning information to a way they want you to see it.
Well, what would it be like if you could get with 5 of your friends and control 90% of all media?
Wow.
6 people control 90% of all media, so they get together and just say, all they have to do is get together and say, yeah, I call you up, Kev, we call Shar, we call a couple other folks, and be like, yo, this is what we gonna do. And then they shape the perception, right? So in talking, we all learned the glass half empty, glass half full theory, right? It's all about perception. So how you want to perceive it is what it is. So if you perceive it in your mind right now that this is the worst time in America, oh my God, things are falling apart, life is so bad, then that's what it's going to be for you. If you perceive right now, looking at the same situation that the other person did, that this is an awesome time because all of these systems are breaking down and people that normally don't fight against each other are fighting against each other, and things are going to crumble and fall so that we can rebuild anew. It's perception.
That is true.
And as a doctor, you look at it, how much does that have to do with your health? So they tell you as a doctor, when they can't, well, I know my doctors, when they can't figure out stuff, they'll be like, well, a lot of that's just stress. Right?
What you talking about, Willis?
They're like, well, stress. So basically, if they telling you it's stress, then guess what causes stress? Your perceptions.
That is true.
Yeah. So you think, would you agree that social media has really helped to penetrate some of those perceptions such that information gets out so quickly such that they cannot hide it in the media?
Well, they're good people on both sides. No, I'm just you know, on both sides of social media.
Sure.
It's a good and a bad thing because you know, the false advertising runs rampant.
That's true.
Yes,
Right?
it does.
So, you know, it's still up to you to kind of figure out. It's just like going to the doctor. The doctor have you taking some stuff, trying to figure some stuff out that'll drive you crazy.
Yes, sure.
You know that. Until they figure it out. Oh, here, try this. It's a practice.
That's true.
People are practicing on you.
That's the practice of medicine.
You know what I'm saying? They literally call it a practice. I'm a practice on you. Yeah, I can practice on myself. You know what I'm saying? I want you to fix it.
Right.
You know. So, you know, it's a thing. But like I was saying, the perception, man. Perception is everything. So even in this thing we talked about, music industry, how it affects things, it gets back to everything affect everybody the way you want it to affect you. Meaning, think about it. Most African American people that I know that are going through this immediately went to whatever their version of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches is after we found out we're gonna be stuck in the house. Right?
Yes.
We'd have gone straight to our peanut butter and jelly. You know, we were like, oh, well, this can be jacked up. Get the peanut butter and jelly, right? And we know what that is because our perception of it is we've been there before.
Yes,
right?
we have.
However, some other cultures, man, them people be jumping out windows. Them people about to kill each other outside over wearing a mask.
Yes, because they're not used to going through things.
Because they not you taking away our freedoms. You taking away their freedoms. Well, we not used to having freedom, so we perfectly good. So
we can survive.
we have proven we will survive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So as we get through this, as we muddle our way through this, the best thing for people to do is focus on themselves.
Improving themselves.
Yeah, and improving themselves and making things. Dude, I've been into like Eastern medicines and philosophy because I believe, you know, y'all go to, no offense, you my brother, love you, but y'all go through training, the same training, and everybody say the same thing. Don't nobody change their words, the game, nothing. I be like, man, y'all not really, y'all just doing whatever they told y'all to do in school.
That's what you're doing. When you practice medicine, there are always areas where there are unknowns. It's impossible as a clinician to know everything. So you're constantly developing, growing, using research, using your mind, and new things come forward all the time, and they really don't have answers for them, which goes back to the coronavirus itself. Like Dr. Fauci and others are stating, they've never seen anything like this ever in the history of medicine.
Well, it keeps changing. Even the asymptomatic symptoms, we don't know.
Right.
Listen. That orange man sitting in the White House don't have corona as far as we know. However, I do believe somewhere hidden under that toupee is the doggone vaccine. I'm just saying. Gotta be.
Somebody has it. We just don't know yet.
Somebody got it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, somebody has it. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, because you out there walking out there that bold all the time. You got to know something, or you just that stupid, which could be either one. But, you know,
or the vaccine sitting in a vault.
Right.
But pay attention, though. You know, I don't know if we off topic. We just talk. You use whatever you want to use. But pay attention, though, right? Trump always telegraphed what he gonna do.
That is
Russia,
true.
if you hear me. China, if you hear me. Then we find out he did something with Russia. Then we find out he did something with China, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about vaccine and all that, you already know they got this stuff. They already done telegraphed the whole playbook. You just gotta listen between the lines what that dude. That dude tell you everything you want to know if you just listen, because he start rambling and he don't go on, stay on the script. They be like, dude, stay on script.
He is a narcissist, so narcissists tend to do that.
Yeah, so finally the Pence must have heard something, because he put on a mask.
Sure did. Pence put on a mask recently.
Oh, he
It's
did?
like,
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? He was like, you know what? I'm not dying with you, bro. I'm not. I don't know if that vaccine you got worked now, because Fauci's saying there's mutations.
Well, I'm going to wear my mask. I don't care if they don't wear theirs. I'm wearing mine because I'm going to stay safe. I'm going to follow the guidelines. You know how they say it's the person on the project that they going to follow the rules. I'm going to follow the rules and keep my little mask on.
Yeah,
6 feet away.
I'm gonna stay more than 6 feet, and keep the mask on in the house by myself. I'm good.
Oh, and I can understand that, Mr. Floyd. I can definitely say I thank you for being on this podcast, this episode discussing the music industry and COVID. I truly enjoyed this conversation. I thank you for your time. I thank you, Dr. Dennis, as well. I thank you for being on My Style Live podcast again. And is there anything that you would like to close this podcast out with today and tell anyone?
Yeah, kind of. Who this podcast for? Just for everybody?
This is just for everyone.
For everybody. Well, everybody, again, things are perception, right?
Yes.
So things, you got to work on your perception, because things are as you perceive it, right?
Yes, it is.
And your body reacts to how you perceive things. Meaning, if I go boo and you think it's a joke, or you know what I mean, or if you watch a scary movie you already seen, you don't really, your body don't really go into fight or flight mode, because you kind of know what's going to happen, right?
That's
So
true.
if you watch a scary movie, you ain't seen it, and then your body go into fight and flight mode, all the blood go to where? Your muscles, not to your organs. Then that's when that stress start messing up, right?
Yes.
So you have to learn how to perceive things different, because if we perceive, I believe the younger people, when I say younger, I mean not elderly, when they perceive COVID as being this horrible thing and, oh, I'm going to die, I believe they do.
That's true.
I believe when the people be like, I'm going to make it, they make it.
That's true. They do. It's all that positive momentum and that attitude. Mental health. Tell us about mental health, Dr. Dennis.
Yeah, Dr. Dennis.
Well, a lot of mental health also goes to physical health. Recently, you've heard of patients that are actually 100 years old, actually lived through the first pandemic and through the second pandemic, and lived both of them, and are still living and surviving at 101 years old. How does that happen? Well, you have to look at the perspective, like perception, how they, and also their positive energy. So positive energy leads to certain endorphins, and those endorphins give you energy. Those energies lead to other positive things in your mindset. Mindset goes to your physical. Therefore, it all works together. So mental health is one of the most important aspects of what you can control, or what you should try to control in this state. If you can't control the virus itself, at least try to attempt to control your mental health, how you see things, how you approach things, how you find ways to provide positive energy within your own soul, so that you can actually come out of the situation better than you went in. In particular, my goal is to come out of this healthier, smarter, with more vigor, and more what I call successful energy out of this coronavirus than when I went in. I don't expect to come out of the coronavirus, out of this state, weaker, with less energy, with inabilities to accomplish goals. But I look at this as an opportunity to build myself. So this is what I highly recommend: is reading, doing things positive, communicating with positive people, and surrounding yourself with positive-minded people. That's one thing I can say about Mr. Floyd, Alan, and I. Alan is a person that I've been around for many, many years, and I can truly say, as a friend, as a person, has always had a positive energy about him, about seeing success, pushing for success, and also helping others to accomplish and achieve their successes.
Yeah. So could you expand on that before we go? Explaining the case studies that have shown placebos actually sometimes work better than the actual medicine that is made to fix certain things.
Yes,
the fact that you believe it's going to work,
it works. Yes, this placebo effect is a true effect whereby patients are told that they may or may not be given a particular product, and the outcomes of the studies have shown that by giving them nothing, which they actually believe they're getting something, their outcomes and their endpoint were more improved. Even cancers have gone away in some patients when they believed, or their cancers were improved when they really believed that they were getting certain medications. So the placebo effect is true.
Well, I'm
there
just.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you're exactly correct.
Perception instead of prescription. Perception.
Yes. Well, I have a concern because when you keep talking about the asymptomatic person with COVID, that has me a little concerned that people are walking around and they don't have any signs. They don't know they have COVID. And the recent event that just happened in Nashville, I just kind of want to know, what are some things that we really need to look out for, or what do we need to be on alert with the asymptomatic
type of patient? I think you have to approach an asymptomatic patient the same as a person who doesn't know they have diabetes. A person walks around, they don't know they have hypertension. A person walks around, they don't even know sometimes they have cancer until somebody tells them. Asymptomatic means essentially you're functioning perfectly 100% at all normalities until somebody tells you you have something. So if you approach your life and approach this virus in a way that you don't have it, and you move forward positively in a different way, I believe that is the best approach. If you go seeking for negative information and negative energy, you'll find it. Okay. What do you think about it, Alan?
Well, you can't operate as though you don't have it. You have to operate as though you do have it, but perceive that you won't get it. I know that sounds confusing, but you have to operate as though you do have it. So if you did have it, you're not going around old people and doing this stuff. Because if you operate as though you don't have it, you're going to just start going around old people doing the stuff and spreading it to whoever. So I operate that I do have it, but in my mind, I'm like, really, I'm never going to get this stuff. And if I do, I'm going to
keeping others safe around you. Keeping
you see what
I'm
saying?
That's right. Keeping others safe.
That's true. That's right. I like that analogy right there.
So you're not going to walk into Trader Joe's and have a trip out session without your mask at Trader Joe's going off.
Nah, I ain't going to Trader nobody's. First of all, so, you know what I'm saying? I'm like I said, I'm gonna operate as though I got it, and I'm gonna stay away from everybody. You know what I mean? Because remember,
that's true.
I don't know. Taiwan.
Yeah,
Taiwan.
Yeah. Look at the number of COVID cases they got. Now, they tell you this stuff is airborne, and that's in the airstream, but yet they don't have hardly no cases. But way over in the United States, we done caught everything. Get out of here.
That's true.
Get out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They right in the middle of the jet stream. You mean none of that went over there? Y'all telling me this airborne, but these people ain't got it? Stop it.
No. Exactly.
Some countries shut completely down from the beginning. then they got less than 100 cases. You know what I'm saying?
But
They're not telling you that.
Hey, but Sweden stated, they said they were going to allow their country not to wear a mask, and they said that they really believe that the virus will not get to them. Mm-hmm. Now Sweden has more cases than the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out today.
Oh, Lord. Y'all remember, like at the beginning of this, people were like, well, we don't know if black people can get this stuff.
They did say that.
Yeah. And now we know.
Oh, we're the highest rate.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother podcast.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a whole nother
That's a whole nother podcast. We'll have to come back. We had to get a sponsor
for that.
Okay, let me know when you want to come back on and we'll discuss
it. Get a sponsor on that one.
We'll get a sponsor,
sponsor, on that.
Well, that's our episode for today. I hope you had fun, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Join us next month. Again, visit us at mystylelive.com. Thank you for joining My Style Live podcast. I'd like to thank our special guest, Mr. Alan Floyd, Head of Global Touring Operations for Beyonce, Jay-Z On the Run 2 Tour. I'd also like to recognize Mr. Floyd's work with the Beyonce Experience Live in 2007 and Destiny's Child, A Family Affair in 2006. Thank you again for joining My Style Live podcast, and see you next month. Have a great day. Be sure to tune in monthly for My Style Live, the fashion podcast for industry elite, covering style, business, healthcare, music, and culture. Tune in monthly for My Style Live podcast. To learn more, visit mystylelive.com.